Hi everyone, good afternoon. Am I audible and visible, everybody? Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible and visible, guys? Give me a heads up if I'm audible and visible. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Okay, so I think I am audible and visible. So let's start, everybody. Good afternoon. So today we have a session on environment. Now you might be thinking a couple of questions do turn up from environment. All right, so we'll try to focus on this chapter, environment. We have covered EPID, we have covered vaccines, we have covered demo and contraceptives, we have covered biostats, we have covered screening. Today you are on environment. 31st of May, environment. Okay. Tomorrow will be nutrition. So without much ado, let us start revising. All the PDFs have been shared on my Telegram group. You can go through that. The link to the Telegram group is in the description box. So you can refer to that. So without taking too much of your time, let's start with the question. In environment, we will be focusing on water, air, light, waste disposal. Okay, and a couple of MCQs. So let's start. What is your first answer? Identify the primary air pollutants among the following options. Now, whenever you open the chapter of environment and you go to air, you have a question on primary and secondary air pollutants. So anyone could just tell me what are the primary air pollutants over here? What are the primary air pollutants? What are the primary air pollutants? Carbon monoxide, methane, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone or lead. What are the primary air pollutants? So most of you are writing one. Option A, that is carbon monoxide. Okay, you're saying sulfur dioxide. Okay, you're saying nitrogen dioxide, and you're also saying lead. All right, so let me take you straight to a table, guys. Can you see this table, everybody? Can you? Very good. Anshika and Shri has got it correct. Good, guys. Now don't think that this question cannot turn up. Just have a look at this. You know that which is the best air pollution indicator. The best air pollution indicator is sulfur dioxide. All right, that is a primary air pollutant. Most widely distributed air pollution indicator, most widely distributed air pollution indicator, most widely distributed air pollution indicator. So if somebody asks you most widely distributed, that is carbon monoxide. Nitrogen oxides, particulate matter 2.5 and 10, which are actually a part of AQI. Volatile organic compounds, lead and ammonia also in the air. They are all primary. Primary means those that are released directly into the atmosphere. What are secondary air pollutants? Secondary air pollutants are which are formed by combination of primary air pollutants. Look at this, ozone. Now the ground level ozone is a secondary air pollutant. All right, ground level ozone. The ozone which is present in the stratosphere, that's a good ozone, but ground level ozone is secondary air pollutant. You have methane, sulfates, nitrates and secondary particulate matter. You might not have seen this earlier. If you have seen, good, but we will just revise it. So what is it? Of course, the primary air pollutant is carbon monoxide, not methane, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. Ozone again is secondary air pollutant, and lead. So what is your answer, guys? 1, 3, 4 and 6. Give me a thumbs up, everyone, if you understood primary air pollutants and secondary air pollutants. Don't think this can't come in your exam. It's a very very basic question which can any time turn up in your exam. And this is something that we ignore. We don't really study कि कौन पूछेगा, but आता है question. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. What is true about global warming? I'm trying to cover those topics that many times you ignored. Now global warming is actually a PYQ. ठीक है, and we are experiencing global warming. So they could give you a question on global warmings. Okay, yeah. Which is true about global warming? Paris Agreement aimed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in developed countries. Kyoto Protocol called for 50% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Water vapor is one of the most important greenhouse gases. It is primarily caused by increased solar radiation. What is your answer? Think carefully, guys. What is your answer? सारे बी लिख रहे हैं. अरे ग्लोबल वार्मिंग का सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट ग्रीन हाउस गैस, सबसे पहले तो इट्स नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ इंक्रीज सोलर रेडिएशन, इट्स एक्चुअली बिकॉज ऑफ एमिशन ऑफ ग्रीन हाउस gases. All right, it's emission of greenhouse gases. These greenhouse gases are clubbing the atmosphere, it's blocking it, okay, and it's leading to depletion of the good ozone. So it's emission of greenhouse gases. Now greenhouse gases में most important greenhouse gas is water vapor. All right, this is your answer. Most important, the most important greenhouse gas, the most important greenhouse gas guys is water vapor. All right, water vapor. What are the other gases? You could have carbon dioxide, you could have methane, all those things, but most important is water vapor. There was a Kyoto protocol and there was a Paris agreement also, but Paris agreement, so these two protocols are for climate change. Paris agreement and Kyoto protocol are initiatives to protect the climate. Paris agreement was to reduce greenhouse gases in developed country. No, it targeted both developed and developing countries. All right, it targeted both developed and developing countries, not just developed countries. And Kyoto protocol called for almost 90% reduction in emission of greenhouse gases. All right, almost 90% reduction in emission of greenhouse gases. Am I clear? Everybody understood? Just a couple of questions. Okay, somebody earlier mentioned in the comment section chlorofluorocarbons. What are these doing? Chlorofluorocarbons, guys, they deplete the good ozone in the stratosphere layer. Chlorofluorocarbons are depleting the good ozone where in stratosphere layer, it depletes the good ozone in stratosphere layer. Okay, and that good ozone is getting depleted, so all the harmful radiations from the sun is reaching the earth. Got it? Global warming. So the first two questions were ignored topics by you. Please don't ignore. I made you cover primary air pollutants also. I made you cover secondary air pollutants also. And we've also discussed global warming. Moving to the next MCQ of the day. Major disinfecting property of bleaching powder is due to. I don't want any one of you marking this wrong, guys. Major disinfecting property of bleaching powder is due to. What is your answer? Think and write. Major disinfecting. Very good. Since I asked major disinfecting, hypochlorous acid. 90% disinfection is due to hypochlorous acid. But if somebody asks you disinfecting property of chlorine, so the disinfecting property of chlorine is due to both HOCl and OCl minus. Disinfecting is due to hypochlorous also and hypochlorite ion also. This is almost 10% responsible. This is 90% responsible. And bleaching powder, you all know 100 grams bleaching powder gives you 33 grams free chlorine. Okay? Alright. Let's go to the next question, everybody. Can you try this once? Just give me a moment. All right. What is your guys? Just keep your queries towards the end. We will discuss about it. Okay. Best method for routine monitoring of air pollution. What have you written? Good. Sulfur dioxide, dust, and smoke. All right. Routine monitoring में we take sulfur dioxide, dust, and smoke. And we will have a question on indicators of air pollution also. So don't worry. Let's go to the next question. Okay? Which of the following is considered confirmatory evidence of recent fecal contamination of water? What will you mark? Recent fecal contamination of water. Any question, Anjali, just note down your question dear. We'll take up your doubts at the end. Okay? Alright, so what is it? Which of the following is considered confirmatory evidence of recent fecal contamination? Don't be in a rush and end up marking option A. Option A is not about recent. Coliform count or E. coli is most reliable indicator of fecal contamination of water. Most reliable indicator of fecal contamination of water. That is E. coli. But if anybody asks you about recent contamination, fecal streptococci. If somebody asks you remote contamination, long standing contamination. So for remote contamination of water, what is the evidence? Clostridium perfringens. Okay, remember this. Most reliable indicator of fecal contamination of and best and most reliable is E. coli. Recent contamination, fecal streptococci. Remote, Clostridium perfringens. Also one more question that could come. What is the screening test for E. coli in water to know whether the water has been exposed to E. coli? What is the name of this screening test? We are not going to go into detail of the screening test. We'll just read it. Presumptive coliform test. All right. Presumptive coliform test or multiple tube method. Presumptive coliform test or multiple tube method. And what is the diagnostic test? What is the diagnostic test? So the diagnostic test for E. coli, remember the mnemonic? EIC, Ig command test. For the diagnostic test, what it is? It is Ig command test, Ig command test, Ig command test, indole test, and citrate utilization. Okay, these are the diagnostic tests. These questions do turn up in exams. Okay, this one slide is a golden slide of the day. Alright, any WHO, false regarding WHO recommended drinking water quality guidelines. Can anybody tell me the answer to this? Just wanted to discuss a couple of things. Like this is water. According to WHO, what are the recommended drinking water quality guidelines? What all should you see? So here you have to tell me the false statement, guys. Here you have to tell me the false. Color, of course water is colorless. देखो water colorless है, ठीक है? But we can measure water. It should be up to 15 true color units. Okay, TCU is nothing. It's a unit to measure color. True color units, ठीक है? Up to 15 true color unit, or we can also measure or 5 Hazen unit. That's okay, 5 Hazen unit. This again is an MCQ. Potable water. What is the meaning of potable water? 0 coliform per 100 ml of water. So this is also true. Turbidity up to 5 NTU is okay. Nitrate not less than 100. This is wrong. What is nitrate, guys? If you have nitrate, it should be less than 50. And presence of nitrate indicates, if you see nitrate, remote contamination of water. Remote contamination of water. Okay? What about nitrite, everybody? What about nitrite, guys? The nitrite has to be how much? Nitrite should be up to 3. Alright, up to 3. And if you have nitrite in water, it indicates what? Recent contamination of water. It indicates recent contamination of water. ठीक है, ऑलमोस्ट अप टू 3 is okay. And if nitrates and nitrites dissolve in blood, it leads to what is known as methemoglobinemia. What does it lead to? Methemoglobinemia. It dissolves in blood. Methemoglobinemia. A couple of more questions. Which is the most undesirable metal in water? Anybody? Most undesirable metal in water. What will be your answer? Most undesirable metal in water. What is it arsenic? Is it mercury? Is it lead? Is it anything else? Not arsenic. Most undesirable metal is lead. And what is the level which is allowed? 0.001. Alright, 0.001 milligram per liter that we can allow. Even if you don't remember the value, that's okay. Most undesirable metal in lead is water. What about the TDS? How much TDS? What is the standard prescribed for TDS in water, guys? TDS का standard prescribed क्या है? TDS standard prescribed, okay, minimum, the standard prescribed. What is the bye Nico. What is the standard prescribed for TDS, guys? What should be the TDS standard prescribed? What should be the TDS standard prescribed? Very good. Up to 600 is the prescribed. But maximum permissible level is how much? Maximum permissible level. What is the maximum permissible level? So maximum permissible level up to 1000, ठीक है, up to 1000. Similarly, chlorides you will remember. What about chlorides? Chlorides standard prescribed. What about chlorides? Standard prescribed. What is the standard prescribed for chloride, guys? It is 200. It is 200. But what is the maximum permissible level? What is the maximum permissible level? The maximum permissible level is up to 600. Maximum permissible level is up to 600. And what are the physical properties of water that you look for? Physical property are, you will look for color, you will look for odor, and you will look for taste. Clear? Just a couple of standards. Very good. Hardness of water. Somebody wrote, Dr. Collagen. Hardness of water. Hardness of water between 150 to 300 milligram per liter. Hardness of water is between 150 to 300. And when is softening prescribed? When is softening prescribed? Softening is prescribed when the level of hardness is 150 milligram per liter. Clear? Everybody got these physical properties of water in your head? Chalo. Can we go to the next question, everybody? Okay. It's a long question, so read it. Take your time. Come up with the answer. Don't just think about it. Okay? निको, अब दादी पास जाओ बेटा. What is the answer, guys? Which of the following statements is true regarding the OT and OTA tests used for chlorination of water? What is your answer over here? Very good. Guys, just 1 second, okay? किधर इसको ले जा. Okay, let's start now. So what is your answer? That's a baby boy. Actually, he's a boy. My daughter is 8 years, but this boy, he is 2 years. Chalo. Now let us concentrate again. What is the answer over here? Which of the following is true regarding OT and OTA tests used for chlorination of water? This is one of the most expected questions. All right. No problem. No problem. OT is orthotoluidine. Orthotoluidine test. Orthotoluidine test. That is OT. Alright, and what is OTA? What is OTA? That is orthotoluidine arsenite. Okay, orthotoluidine arsenite. Now the question was, what do these two tests do? Anybody? What do these two tests do? They measure free chlorine or residual chlorine. They measure free chlorine or residual chlorine. ठीक है, they measure free chlorine or residual chlorine. Now I asked you the true statement. Can everybody quickly tell me in the comment section which is better, OT test or OTA test? Which one is better, guys? OT test or OTA test? Very quickly write in the comment. Which one is better, OT test or OTA test? Waiting for your answers. Which one is better? OTA. Very good. So keep that in mind and look at each of the options. Option A, the OT test can detect both free and combined chlorine separately, making it superior to OTA test. Wrong. Which is better? OTA test is better. OTA test is better because it can detect both free and combined chlorine separately. Next one, breakpoint chlorination is achieved when chlorine demand of water is exceeded, resulting in free or residual chlorine that keeps water disinfectant. This is also false. What is breakpoint chlorination? Is it chlorine demand of water is exceeded? No. Breakpoint chlorination क्या होता है guys? Breakpoint chlorination is when chlorine demand is met. When chlorine demand met. The point when chlorine demand is met. That is breakpoint chlorination. OT, and once breakpoint chlorination is reached, that is once we have calculated the chlorine demand, we will add some extra amount of chlorine in water so that water remains disinfected. That is known as free or residual chlorine. Going to the next one. OTA test is unable to detect combined chlorine separately and is affected by interfering substances. Again, this is wrong. OTA test can detect combined chlorine, free chlorine separately, and it is not affected by interfering substances. Okay? So obviously, look at option D. The OT test can detect free chlorine separately, yes, but not combined chlorine. It can detect combined chlorine but not separately, while OTA test can detect both free and combined chlorine separately. So what is the correct answer? Option D. Am I clear? Everyone, did you understand? Now just a replica of these points. You have to tell me true or false. Golden point. OTA test better than OT test? True. Whenever you add OT or OTA reagents, these are chemical reagents into water, what is the color that you see? Yellow color. Yellow color that you see within the first 10 to 15 seconds, guys, is due to free chlorine. Again, this is true. If you have to measure free chlorine, you have to measure in the first 10 to 15 seconds. OTA test detects both free and combined chlorine separately. This is also true. OT test detects free chlorine separately. This is also true. But OT test can detect combined chlorine. This is true. It can detect combined chlorine but not separately. It does not detect it separately. How does it detect? Total minus free. It can't detect it separately. Total minus free. Clear? Am I clear? If somebody asks you, can OT test detect combined chlorine? Yes, it can. But if somebody asks you, OT test can detect combined chlorine separately? No. If somebody asks you, OT test can detect combined chlorine? Yes. How? Total minus free. Chale? Okay. Color produced, already discussed. Quickly answer. Color produced in OT test after 5 minutes is due to action of. After 5 minutes. What is the answer to this? After 5 minutes. No, Nico, fourth is not wrong. If somebody, what was the fourth one? OT test can detect, yes. Free chlorine it can detect separately. It can't detect combined chlorine separately. Okay, Nico? If you have any doubt, just keep it towards the end. I'm not discussing this anymore. This we have already discussed. What is your answer? Why are you writing B? After 5 minutes. It is due to both free and combined chlorine. After 5 minutes. Here what was written? Yellow change within 10 to 15 minutes is due to free chlorine. That is true. But here I am asking you color produced in OT test after 5 minutes. After 5 minutes is due to action of both free and combined chlorine. Free chlorine is only within first 10 to 15 seconds. Now did you understand the question? Free chlorine first 10 to 15 seconds. After 10 to 15 seconds it is due to action of both. So here it was after 5 minutes. So your answer was free and combined chlorine. Okay? Moving ahead. What is this name of this equipment? Quickly. What is the name of this equipment? It's already written over here. The name of this equipment is chloroscope. And what does a chloroscope do? It measures free or residual chlorine. This free or residual chlorine keeps water disinfected. Keeps water disinfected. Alright? It keeps water disinfected. Level of free or residual chlorine in drinking water. How much should it be in drinking water? 0.5 milligram per liter. Contact period. Alright? Contact period. That is fixed for a contact period of 1 hour. But if somebody asks you swimming pool, for swimming pool sanitation it is how much guys? At least 1 milligram per liter, or you can say 1 ppm. Okay, remember 1 milligram per liter is the same as 1 ppm and the contact period is 1 hour. Post disaster to keep the water disinfected. Most commonly reported disease after disaster is GI, and best way to keep it clean is to prevent that is ensure safe water supply and sanitation. 0.7 milligram per liter for a contact period of 1 hour. To kill poliovirus and cyclops, both of them have been eliminated from India. Okay, guinea worm infection and poliovirus, we have to keep it at 2 milligram per liter for a contact period of 1 hour. Okay, alright. So moving ahead. What is the name of this equipment? Quickly tell me. And what is it used for? What is the name of this equipment and what do you use this equipment for? What is the name of this equipment and what do you use this equipment for? So this is none other than a Horrocks apparatus. Quick question on Horrocks apparatus. I am giving you a question. Question is, how many grams of bleaching powder will disinfect 455 liters of water if third cup is first cup to show color change? Quick answer. What is your answer guys? How many grams of bleaching powder will disinfect 455 liters of water if third cup is the first cup to show color change? No answers yet? You answering? Why am I not able to see your answers? Oh, now I got it. Okay. What is the formula that you're going to use, everybody? Just a quick revision of the formula. Do you need a paper and pen for this or a calculator? No. What is it? N into 2 grams bleaching powder. N into 2 grams bleaching powder will disinfect 455 liters of water, where N, what is N guys? N is equal to the first cup to show color change. N is the first cup to show color change. So here what did I say? The third cup is the first cup to show color change. So what is N over here guys? 3. That means 455 liters of water will be disinfected by 3 into 6 grams. So that will be 3 twos are 6 grams bleaching powder. Am I clear? Somebody asks you, what about 5,000 liters of water? How many grams you need? So very easy. 455, 6 gram. 1 liter, 6 by 455. So 5,000 liter, pure math. 6 by 455 into 5,000. Okay, don't forget this formula. And what is the indicator that we use in Horrocks apparatus? It is starch iodide. And we have, what does Horrocks apparatus measure? It measures chlorine demand. What is chlorine demand? Amount of chlorine which is needed to disinfect water. After chlorine demand is calculated, we add extra chlorine so that the water remains disinfected. You have 1 black cup. In black cup you prepare the solution and you have 6 white cups. Done. What is the color change that you see on adding the solution? Color change. Like in OTA test it was yellow. Here what is the color change, guys? Here the color changes into blue. Okay. Moving to the next question. Let's see if you can answer this. All of these statements are true about breakpoint chlorination except. Give me your answer to this one. Okay. Suhana bache, it is 1 black cup and 6 white cup. Okay, 1 black cup in which you prepare the solution and there are 6 white cups. Okay, Suhana. Alright, what is it that you're answering? Some are writing C, some are writing D, some are writing, mostly everybody is writing C. Let's check it out. Okay. Free chlorine is released in water after breakpoint chlorination. So I just told you, once we have estimated chlorine demand, and what is the point at which, what is that point known when we estimate chlorine demand? Breakpoint chlorination. After breakpoint chlorination, additional chlorine is added to water which keeps it disinfected. So free chlorine is released in water after breakpoint chlorination. This is true. What is chlorine demand? Amount of chlorine which is needed to kill bacteria, oxidize matter, organic matter and neutralize ammonia. True. Contact period, we just did it, 1 hour. What is this? In water, how much of free chlorine should be present? 0.5 milligram per liter. Or you could also say 0.5 ppm. It's the same thing. Okay, what I just revised, it's a practice of that question. Okay? Going to the next one. To avoid overcrowding, what is the maximum number of people allowed to live in a house with 2 rooms? Anybody? To assess overcrowding, you have 3 criteria. One is person per room criteria. So what is it? Now see, overcrowding kab bologe, guys? When would you say overcrowding? Think carefully and mark your answer. See, 1 room, how many people are allowed? 2 people. 1 room, 2 people can live. So what is overcrowding? When you have 1 room more than 2 people. Isn't it? 2 room, how many people can live? 2 room, 3 people is allowed. So is overcrowding 3 people? Maximum to avoid overcrowding, what is the maximum number of people allowed to live in a house with 2 rooms? Okay? To avoid overcrowding. When will you call it as overcrowding, guys? When in 2 room you have more than 3 people. In 3 room you should have 5 people is allowed. So what is overcrowding? When in 3 room I will have more than 5 people. Okay? So now the question is asking, to avoid overcrowding, what is the maximum number of people allowed to live in a house with 2 rooms? So what is the maximum number of people that you can allow to live in a house with 2 rooms to avoid overcrowding? In 2 rooms, you can allow up to 3 people. Okay? If I asked you what is overcrowding over here in 2 rooms, if I asked you what is overcrowding, in overcrowding it would have been 4 people in 2 rooms. 4 people in 2 rooms. But now I'm asking you the question, I want to avoid overcrowding. So maximum number of people who can live in a house with 2 rooms is what? 3 people. To avoid overcrowding, I have just changed the question. I am asking, I want to avoid overcrowding. So to avoid overcrowding, what is in 2 rooms 3 people are allowed. So to avoid, so when will it be called as overcrowding? When you have 4 people in the room. That is when you have more than 3 people in the room. Okay, in 2 rooms more than 3 people, that will be called as overcrowding. But now I want to avoid overcrowding. So maximum number of people that can live is 3. Is it clear everybody? So be very careful with the question. Agar question hota for overcrowding, the question was for overcrowding, maximum people, what for overcrowding in 2 rooms, when will you call it overcrowding? 2 people in 2 rooms, when will you call it overcrowding? You would have marked 4. Okay, in 2 rooms. But now I said to avoid overcrowding. Maximum number of people that you can allow is 3. So be careful with the question. Okay? Alright. All are methods of sewage disposal except. What is your answer to this? All are methods of sewage disposal except river outfall, land outfall, oxidation pond, Bangalore method. Good. River outfall, land outfall, oxidation pond, all these are methods of sewage. Sewage is liquid waste with excreta. Sewage is liquid waste with excreta. Alright. Composition 99.9% of water plus 0.1% solid. Now Bangalore method, the mnemonic was CBI. Compositing. In this you have 2 things. One is Bangalore method and one name of the cities, indoor method. Bangalore method relies on what? Anaerobic process. And indoor method relies on what? Aerobic process. So these are all method of solid waste disposal. Okay? Alright, let's have another question. This is just the explanation. The process in the oxidation pond is, we'll revise some treatment disposal methods of sewage, guys. Process in oxidation pond is. Now many times you have been asked many times you have been asked that whether which process is happening in primary sedimentation tank and sewage disposal in secondary sedimentation tank. Okay? So what is it? Now remember, oxidation pond is used for smaller populations. So let's draw an oxidation pond. It's something like that. It has a lower part, it has a upper part. Okay? And here what happens? This sewage is falling into this. Now in the lower part you will always have anaerobic process. It relies on natural process of photosynthesis. Here there's the sun shining. Here it is always aerobic. Now what happens during the daytime? During the daytime, this is very important. Aerobic is more than anaerobic. Aerobic is more than anaerobic. But during the night time, everybody, the anaerobic, obviously it's night, there's no sun. Anaerobic is more than aerobic. But if please don't change it, ki night time mein anaerobic goes in the upper layers. No, in the lower layers it is always anaerobic. In the upper layer it is always aerobic. So aerobic during the day and anaerobic during the night. Okay? We'll also talk about what happens in primary sedimentation tanks and secondary tanks in just a while. What is trickling filter? Tell me all the possible questions from sewage. What is trickling filter? Trickling filter is used in primary treatment of sewage, secondary treatment of sewage, sewage effluent treatment, sewage terminal farming treatment. What is your answer? Secondary treatment. Very good. Now they ask you a question, what is happening in secondary treatment of sewage? In secondary treatment, we use trickling filters or we can use activated sludge process. So let me just revise with you one slide first. Can you see this slide, everybody? This is a 3-star slide. Primary treatment of sewage, SGS. Screening, bigger particles removed. then grit removal, then sedimentation. The question comes, in sedimentation tanks, what is the process happening? Anybody? Anaerobic or aerobic? Can you tell me in the comment section? In primary sedimentation tank, what is the process happening? Aerobic or anaerobic? Remember, it's a tank, it's a hidden thing. Okay, so what is the process happening in primary treatment of sewage? It is always anaerobic. In primary treatment, it is always anaerobic. Don't make that mistake. Sanjeev, it is anaerobic, bacha. It's a tank. Alright, so in primary sedimentation tank, it's anaerobic. After primary treatment, the sewage is subjected for secondary treatment. Secondary treatment can be achieved by two ways. One is trickling filter and the other one is activated sludge process. But which one do we prefer? Trickling filter occupies more space, hence it is not preferred. And activated sludge process, you have a tank but that is aerated. That means oxygen is flowing through it. Aeration tank. This is more preferred as it occupies less space. But the question that comes is, what is the process that we are happening or which is undertaking in secondary treatment? So for secondary treatment, we have which process, guys? Aerobic process. In primary sedimentation tank, it is anaerobic. For secondary treatment, it is which process, everybody? Aerobic. And which one do we prefer? Activated sludge process. Am I clear? Other methods, read all the other methods. You could see this in the options. The sea outfalls, river outfalls, land treatment, sewage farming. There is oxidation ponds and ditches, which we just discussed. Oxidation ponds and ditches, daytime aerobic is more than anaerobic. Nighttime anaerobic is more than aerobic. Okay? So now just have a look over here in this image also. This is the image, everybody. This one which occupies very large and huge space. This is trickling filter, okay? And you will only use trickling filter for smaller towns. But in bigger cities, what is the process being done? Activated sludge process, in which this heart of the tank, heart of this activated sludge process is the aeration tank. Whether you go for either of it, we will rely on which process, guys? Aerobic process. Clear? Okay? Sonal dear, ask me this question at the end. I'll take it up. Done? Everybody got this into your heads? Give me a thumbs up. Sewage disposal. Don't mess up sewage disposal. You can get a question on it. What about solid waste disposal, guys? Just wanted to discuss the name. Solid waste is refuse disposal, dumping, which you should never do. Control tipping and sanitary landfill is the most satisfactory, guys. Alright, most satisfactory. You can burn the solid waste, but in India, incineration not preferred. Incineration is preferred only for biomedical waste. Here I am talking about solid waste. Because if you burn the ghar ka kachra, the general waste, it will not yield manure. Okay, manure is the end product of solid waste disposal. Compositing, I can't go into too much detail, CBI. Manure pits are done for rural areas. What do they do in villages? At the back of their houses, they dig two pits almost 2 meter deep. One pit gets filled in 6 months, the other pit gets filled in 6 months. At the end, we get enough manure for farming. Burial is done for whenever you go camping. Okay? Whenever you go camping. If you talk about military people, military men, they use trench method. Okay? Most satisfactory method which is going to yield the best result in solid waste disposal. Now remember this method. If you talk about control tipping, okay? Control tipping, or you talk about sanitary landfill, there was a question from this. This is achieved by 3 methods, guys. TAR. T is trench method that we use in the army also, area method, and R is ramp method. TAR, trench, area, ramp. Now remember one thing, trench method is the best method. This is trench. It's the best method, but it is costly. This method is costly. For this, what happens? Like for a population of 10,000, we have to dig a trench. Okay? Dig a trench which is 2 meter deep, and for that we need 1 acre land per year. So every year we would require so much of land. So it's costly, but it's the best. All solid waste would be dumped over here. Organisms, then it will be covered. Organisms will start acting, aerobic, anaerobic process, come out with manure. Area method is most common, guys. All right, what is area method? Wherever you have disused lands, okay, the lands are disused, barren, disused lands or quarry, we go and dump the waste. That is area method. That land is no longer used, so end product would be manure. Ramp method is used in hilly areas. Clear? Solid and sewage disposal, everyone, I need a thumbs up. Incineration India में नहीं prefer है for solid waste. It's only biomedical waste, yellow category. Okay, moving ahead, let's quickly answer a couple of more questions. 15 more minutes on the clock. Underwater supply program, which of the following statement is false? Which of the following statement is false? Yeah, we'll finish it in 15 minutes. Under the water supply program, which of the following statement is false? Why aren't you writing? At least one hand pump for 250 people, at least 40 liters per capita water supply per day in rural areas, at least 140 in urban areas. This is a PYQ. ठीक है, 140 to 200 liters, that's okay. What is the correct answer here? Problem village. Problem village is there's no safe water within 1.6 kilometers, or when I start digging the ground, or no water up to 15 meter depth. No water up to 15 meter depth. You will not find any source of water up to 15 meter depth. Okay, so these are just questions and one-liners that could come in your exam. Okay, let's do this one, guys. In a remote area of the country, a GI epidemic broke out. A community shallow well was suspected to be the cause. The doctor of PHC had no other facility to check the quality of water except physical examination of water. Which of the following is a physical parameter that would indicate water pollution? Physical parameter, like but just by looking you have to say, oh, I can't drink this water. What is the physical parameter? Very good, turbidity. BOD, COD, we will discuss right now. They are for sewage. Nitrogen dioxide, again in the air. Now they can be, I can't look and say, oh, there is nitrogen dioxide. I can't look and say, oh, the BOD of water is this much. I will have to do some experiment, okay? But if you talk about turbidity, if you talk about color, if you talk about taste, those are all physical parameters. What is the pH recommended for water, guys? pH in which chlorine can act is 6.5 to 8.5. The recommended pH according to WHO. But remember again, chlorine acts best at pH. Chlorine acts best at pH 7. Okay? Alright, chlorine, gandagi. You could say turbidity is like gandagi. Okay? pH 7. Sewage composition we will do. So we got a question on sewage regarding BOD and COD. Look at each of the options and let's try to mark the answer. Okay? Look at each of the option and let's try to mark the answer, guys. Does not contain human excreta? Absolutely false. Sewage is excreta. Liquid waste with excreta. Strength is measured by BOD. Absolutely true. BOD of more than 100 is strong sewage. Wrong. BOD of more than 300 is strong sewage. Composed of 90% water? No, 99.9% water. Dry weather flow is measured in 24-hour period. True. B and E. What is dry weather flow? It is the amount of sewage that flows in sewage pipelines in 24-hour period. Okay? The amount of sewage which is flowing through sewage pipelines in 24-hour period. Now guys, remember when you talk about strength of sewage, guys, you can measure the strength in terms of BOD, COD, suspended particles. BOD is just how much oxygen is demanded by the organisms to treat sewage. Normal strength, you must remember, normal strength sewage in terms of BOD is 100 to 300. Therefore, strong sewage is more than 300. In COD, we use a chemical. What is the chemical that we use? Potassium dichromate. We use this chemical to assess the strength of sewage. Suspended particles. Particles are supposed to be more in number. So for suspended particles, it's very commonly asked. Normal strength is 100 to 500. But when will you call it as strong sewage? When will you call it as strong sewage? When suspended particle is more than 500. Particles are supposed to be more in number. So what is a strong sewage? It is more than 5000. Okay? I mean 500. But which is the most important test done on sewage? Most important test done on sewage. Remember this. Most important test on sewage, everybody, is BOD. Alright, most important test is BOD. And to treat sewage, more importantly, we rely on aerobic process. Aerobic process to treat sewage. But it's highly polluted with a little more solid content. Alright, if sewage has more solid content, alright, highly polluted, highly polluted, then we are going to rely on anaerobic process. But generally, अगर आपको कोई पूछे कि how do you treat sewage, what is the actual process, mostly it is aerobic. But if it is highly polluted sewage which has a lot of solid particles, we go on anaerobic. Clear? ठीक है? Okay, BOD is the most important test which is done on sewage. And liquid waste without excreta is known as sullage. Liquid waste with excreta is sewage. Liquid waste without excreta is sullage. Sullage is liquid waste without excreta. Somebody was asking liquid waste without excreta. So that was your waste disposal, a very, very important topic. Okay? What is the answer to this? Most harmful gas responsible for destruction of ozone, already discussed, chlorofluorocarbons. They are leading to destruction of ozone layer, which is the good ozone. Where is this good ozone present, everybody? In the stratosphere layer. Chalo. Yeah, luminous intensity. Let's discuss quickly about light. Luminous intensity of light source is measured in luminous intensity. I've asked you luminous intensity of light source. Anybody? Luminous intensity of light source is measured in, or if it was brightness of light source. Brightness of light source. Luminous intensity of light source. That is measured in what? Luminous intensity, bache, not lumen. Candela. Intensity, brightness, that is measured in candela. So let me take you to a table where we will discuss this question. Okay? C nahi hai, sorry, this is B. Alright, luminous intensity of light source. Now just zoom this table, guys. See, suppose you want to study. Alright, let me draw something for you. Suppose you want to study. Now when you want to study, you light a candle like this. Candle is a light source, or you switch on the light. It has a power, alright, power of light source, or you could also call it as brightness of light source. Light source ka power, how bright it is, that is intensity. What is the unit? Candela. Then the candle say the light is flowing. This flow of light, guys, this flow is flux, and it is like flowing through a tube, completely organized way, lumen. Then it's going to fall on the surface. जैसे अभी light मेरे table पे गिर रहा है. So what is it doing? It amount of light reaching the surface. So the light that reaches the surface, it illuminates it. Illumination. And the unit is LUM, LUX. Some amount of light will be re-emitted by the surface and is reaching our eyes. That is brightness, Lambert. But if I ask you brightness of a light source or lumen power of a light source, that is luminous intensity, that is candela. Will you remember this image and will you remember this question? Okay? Going to the next one as quickly as possible. What is the maximum permissible level of occupational exposure to ionizing radiation per year to the whole body of an individual as set by International Commission of Radiological Protection? Good, 5 rad per person per year. So I wanted to just discuss that value. What is the thickness of the lead apron? Anybody? What is the thickness of the lead apron, guys? Thickness of the lead apron. सूर्याल कैंडला होता है, कैंडल याद रखो, कैंडल एक लाइट सोर्स है. So power of a, if in the exam you see light source word, power of a light source, brightness of a light source, that's candle. ठीक है, power, brightness of a light source. Sorry, but amount of light emitted from the surface, that is brightness. Are you able to see? That is Lambert. If they use the word light source, it is candela. Very good. Thickness of lead apron, everybody. Kunal has come up with an answer. Suhana with the unit. Cortex user with the unit. Hamesha unit pe dhyan do. Otherwise, we can end up making mistakes. Write and read the unit every time. 0.5 mm, alright, thickness of the lead apron. These two questions have come before, so I wanted to discuss it. Okay. Couple of more questions. We're coming to air ka, 1 or 2 questions, guys. Question: which does not measure air humidity? Which does not measure air humidity from these images? ABCD. कौन सा एयर ह्यूमिडिटी नहीं मेजर करता फ्रॉम दीज इमेजेस? ABCD. ओके, अंशिका लिख दी, कोलाजन लिख दिया, SS यारी, थिंक अगेन गाइज, रोहित, स्वाना, अक्षिता, रूपा, कॉटेक्स यूजर. वेरी गुड गाइज. एयर ह्यूमिडिटी ये क्या है? दिस इज नॉट, दिस इज लाइक अ ग्लोब. What is the name of this, guys? Globe thermometer. This is globe thermometer. This is globe thermometer. This is the correct answer. It's like a globe. Now, have you seen the globe? It's oval in shape. So this has a thick and wide bulb. This can measure corrected effective temperature. It can measure corrected effective temperature, or you could also call it as radiant heat. What are the air humidity equipments? This one. This is hygrometer. This one. This is Assman psychrometer. Assman psychrometer. This one right here, sling psychrometer. Sling psychrometer. ठीक है. Globe is temperature, corrected effective temperature. What are these, guys? This one right here is one of the most commonly used equipment to measure air humidity, guys. This is dry and wet bulb hygrometer. Dry and wet bulb hygrometer. Don't call it as thermometer, because if you say thermometer, that is air temperature. Dry and wet bulb hygrometer is for air humidity. This is very commonly used. This one, thin and narrow bulb. This is Carter thermometer. Thin and narrow bulb. This is Carter thermometer. Alright, Carter, red color. Thin and narrow bulb. And this is low air velocity, not high air velocity. Low air velocity. Also cooling power of air. Cooling power of air. But for cooling power of air, no reliable estimates. We don't get very reliable estimates these days. If they ask you, Carter thermometer is more important to measure, your answer will be low air velocity. Like out of these, if they ask you, more important to measure low air velocity. Okay? Abhishek, I've told you, in hygrometer, your readings are from 0 to 100 kind of. In dial thermometer, it's also going in minus. Just check out the vaccine sure shot session. I've showed you the dial thermometer image. So you can refer to that one. Okay? This one is anemometer, guys. An anemometer, Robinson cup anemometer. Earlier, this was used to measure air velocity. Air में most expected is, guys, air instruments. ठीक है, most expected is air instruments. Let's go to the next question. 2021. Quickly बताओ. Post Diwali air pollution index chart was created. Air quality index value on 4 different days were plotted. A AQI of 407 indicates which level of air pollution? Good, severe. There is no very severe category. No very severe category. No very severe category. So you have something known as AQI, guys, Air Quality Index under CPCB. We include carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, lead, ammonia, particulate matter, chlorofluorocarbons. Everything is a part of AQI calculation. So you can just read it. First 100 गाड़ी चल रही है, नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. 0 to 50 गुड, 51 to 100 satisfactory. Then yellow orange moderate and poor. 301 to 400 गाड़ी को रोकना पड़ेगा to stop the car, very poor. 401 to 500 severe. Beyond 500 it is not there, that is very, beyond 500 it is not there, that is very severe thing. And this I've just written what all can you measure in AQI. So whenever you have time you can check out that. Sulfur dioxide is the best, so that's present. Carbon monoxide of course is there, most widely distributed. Nitrogen dioxide has to be there. Lead, smoke, carbon dioxide. This if you even forget, that's okay. All right, what is the answer to this? All are indicators of air pollution except, all are indicators of air pollution except. What is the answer? So I'll just quickly tell you. Good. McArdle's. McArdle's index is maximum permissible sweat rate. Maximum permissible sweat rate. McArdle's index is maximum permissible sweat rate. And what is it? 4.5 liters per 4 hours. Not per hour, per 4 hours. And indicators of air pollution, remember, soiling index is smoke. Okay, suspended particle count, sulfur dioxide. What are the other things? Coefficient of haze. Just we'll revise here only. Indicators of air pollution. What is the other one? Grit and dust measurement. All right, how much haziness is there? How much grit and dust measurement is there? Grit and dust measurement. Clear? So those are indicators of air pollution. Okay. Going to one more question for the day. As per WHO standards, floor space can accommodate. Overcrowding is due to person per room criteria, floor space per person criteria, and sex separation. Two individuals more than equal to 9 years, not husband and wife, sleeping in the same room. Sleeping in same room is overcrowding. Sleeping in same room, guys, is overcrowding. All right, that is one of the overcrowding criteria. Now person per room हमने कर लिया. Floor per space per person. So floor space, remember, to prevent this, one person needs 70 to 90 square feet. Two person needs 100 to 110 square feet. Okay? Now children 1 to 10 years, children 0 to 1 year not counted. 0 to 1 year not counted. And children 1 to 10 year counted as half. So over here you have one adult. One adult needs 70 to 90. The question was 90 to 100. Two adults need 100 to 110. Now in this option D, there is one adult, one person, one child of 6 years, half, and a 6-month-old. You will not count it, 0. So you have 1.5 individuals here. In option C, you have one adult, one child of 8 years, half, one child of 2 years, half. So you will count this half, you will count this half. So total 2 people. So 2 people means you will again need 100 to 110. That means one person 70 to 90, 2 people 100 to 110. So in between you have 90 to 100. And what is in between? That means 1.5%. So your answer is option D. Alright. In chlorination, Sangeeta would be effective in higher doses, not in smaller doses. Is that clear, everybody? So that's it for today. Okay, one more question just wanted to discuss. Can you quickly tell me this? Sanitary well. The construction of step well was banned and a more sanitary approach in the form of sanitary well was constructed. Which out of the following statements are false with reference to sanitary well? Location of sanitary well more than 10 meters from the source of contamination. Lining more than 20 feet depth and 2 to 3 feet above ground level. Lining more than 3 meter depth. Parapet wall. Now you don't have to remember everything. Okay? Okay? You have to just remember a few points. I don't want you to remember everything from sanitary well. देखो जो ये क्वेश्चन है, लोकेशन ऑफ सैनिटरी वेल नॉट मोर देन 10 मीटर्स, मोर देन 15 मीटर्स फ्रॉम अ सोर्स ऑफ कंटामिनेशन, ठीक है. एंड द रेस्ट यू कैन सी इज ऑल्सो फॉल्स. लाइनिंग इज मोर देन 3 मीटर डीप, इट शुड बी मोर देन 6 मीटर, ठीक है, more than 6 meter. And what should be the distance from your house? All right, sanitary well distance from house, all right, it is good if it is within 60 meters, or you could also say 60 to 100. It should at least be within that meters, okay. So this last question I would not say is that important, but over here you can revise a couple of points which have come. I have straight away written for you, so you can write it, okay. But distance from house we can go for 100 meters. All right, sanitary well. So that's it, guys. Rapid sand filter and slow sand filter. Will you be able to revise rapid and slow sand filter by yourself, everybody? Rapid and slow sand filter. Remember, rapid sand filter, these are for bigger areas. Rapid sand filter we use in towns and cities, because they occupy small area. But in slow sand filter, they are kind of becoming obsolete. They require huge areas. Rate of filtration, of course, is fast in rapid sand filter. Sand size which is filtered, slow sand filter, even a smaller size, 0.2 to 0.3. In rapid, 0.4 to 0.7. Pre-treatment do you do in both? Rapid also, slow sand filter also. Filter cleaning and rapid sand filter is done by a technique, backwashing. Slow sand filter, they have to get down and clean it, scraping. Rapid sand filter more skilled, slow sand filter is less skilled. Color bacteria, everywhere it is removed. There is more bacteria which is removed in, ideally in slow sand filter, but then it occupies a very large space, so it is not preferred. And prior storage of water, all right, it is not needed over here. But one point that you have to remember, how do you identify a slow sand filter, guys? In a slow sand filter, like suppose this question comes to you, all are true for rapid sand filter except can be gravity type or pressure type. Yes, they don't work on the basis of biological layer. They work on the basis of gravity or pressure. Okay? Operation requires highly skilled person. Yes. Frequent washing is not required. No preliminary raw storage or operation requires highly skilled person. Yes, it does require highly skilled person. Okay? And then frequent washing is not required. We do have frequent washing, guys. Back washing. No preliminary water storage of raw water required. Yes. So this is not the correct. यहाँ पे we've just written it opposite. Storage not needed in water. Okay? Storage not needed. Here you need it. Clear, everybody? Will you remember this? Okay? Rapid sand filter works by gravity or pressure. And what was for slow sand filter? Slow sand filter works based on biological layer. What was that layer called as? Biological layer. Zuglial layer. It is known as Zuglial layer or Schmutzdeck layer. Schmutz. Yes. Deck layer, okay, Schmutzdeck. Have you written? That's a biological layer, okay? Very good. SCHMUTDECKE. Yes, ECKE. It's like a spell bee contact. Schmutzdeck layer. Vital layer. Very good. The Zuglial layer. But rapid sand filter works on gravity and pressure. Clear everyone? So that was it for environment today. Do revise it. I'll share the PDF in a while. Tomorrow I will meet you for nutrition class. Okay? Keep revising. Keep sharing with your friends because it's completely available for everybody. So you should make the most of out of it and keep revising. All right, please don't give up. Tomorrow again we will meet. And now that the exam is in one session, so I'm sure it has heightened your hopes. We want, all of us wanted the exam to be in one session, and now we have the exam in one session. So go give it your best. There's not going to be any problems now what we were thinking. So it's now is the time to shine. So just a couple of more days, guys. Exactly 15 days now. Give it your best. Okay. So I'll see you tomorrow again for nutrition. All right. Bye bye. Take care, everybody. क्या था सोनल क्वेश्चन? देखो सोनल, टीटी तुम्हारा ट्रॉमा केस है. All right. TD NIS है. But now we are also talking of introducing TDAP. Although it has not been introduced by government now, TDAP is that in pregnancy at least one dose should be of TDAP to offer protection from pertussis also. Is it clear, Sonal? ठीक है, अभी ये गवर्नमेंट में इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं हुआ है. ठीक है. All right, everybody. So let's take a break now. Okay, Taneja, I'll look into it. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Understood, Sonal? Okay. Okay. All right, I'll check into it. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Have a good day. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's still on. All right, thank you so much. Bye bye. Have a good day, guys. Ravi, Kyoto Protocol not 80, no, sorry, not 90. Did I end up saying, yeah, it is aiming to reduce below 20%. Yeah, you can correct that. Of course, exam will happen. Of course, exam will happen, everybody. So, thank you so much. Bye bye. Have a good day.